My husband was always too busy for me. Too busy to talk. Too busy to listen. Too busy to love me. Then someone else wasn't. A man at work noticed when I changed my hair. He noticed when I had a bad day. He noticed me. One evening, I whispered, "I wish my husband saw me the way you do." He looked me in the eyes and said, "Then let me show you how it feels. Let me just get this out. I'm not proud of where this is going, but I also can't keep pretending everything is fine. I've been reading this sub for a while, and I never thought I'd be writing here myself. But here I am. I've been with my husband, Mark, for 14 years. Married for 11. We met back in college in Chicago. He was studying engineering. I was in marketing. He was the kind of guy who always had a plan. Organized, driven, the type who made you feel safe. We moved in together 2 years after graduation. Bought a small house just outside the city. Got married in Grant Park, did all the typical things. For the first few years, we were good. Like really good. We used to talk for hours, go out on random weekday nights just because, laugh at stupid stuff like we were still in college. He made me feel like I mattered. And then, I don't even know when it started changing. It wasn't all at once. It was slow. Like watching something dry up over time. A conversation missed here. A forgotten compliment there. Nights where he was just too tired. Work stress. Long hours. Business trips that kept getting longer. I understood it at first. He was building his career. But it got to the point where I'd talk and realize halfway through a sentence that he wasn't even listening. He'd nod and say but his eyes were still on his phone or his laptop. Sometimes, I'd stand in the doorway just watching him, and he wouldn't even look up. I started trying harder. Changed my hair. Bought new clothes. Cooked his favorite meals. Nothing changed. Not once did he say, "You look nice today," or even notice when I wore something new. It was like I was fading in front of him and he didn't care. I started feeling like I was living next to a stranger. A stranger who used to know every part of me. Then came Daniel. Daniel joined my office around 8 months ago. He was new in our marketing department, confident, but not in a cocky way. Just present. Attentive. He remembered names, remembered birthdays, asked how people were doing and actually listened. I didn't pay much attention at first. He was just the new guy. But one Monday morning, I walked into the office with a fresh haircut. It wasn't a big change, just a little shorter and some layers. I wasn't expecting anyone to notice. Mark sure didn't. But Daniel did. "New haircut," he said as I passed his desk. "Looks really nice on you." I froze for a second. Not because it was a huge compliment, but because I genuinely couldn't remember the last time anyone said something like that to me. After that, we started talking more. Casual stuff. Work things. Then some deeper stuff, like favorite music, weekend plans, dumb childhood stories. He always made eye contact. He always listened. And slowly, I started realizing how starved I was for that. It wasn't about wanting to cheat. It was about feeling like I existed. Daniel came in for coffee, saw my face, and didn't say a word. He just sat down beside me and handed me a chocolate bar from the vending machine. "Looks like you could use this more than I could." I laughed and almost started crying at the same time. "You okay?" he asked softly. I shrugged. "Just tired. Everything feels heavy lately." He nodded. "I get it. You always look like you carry so much on your shoulders." That was it. That one sentence cracked something in me. After that, I started noticing the little things. He'd remember if I had a meeting I was stressed about and ask how it went. He'd make a point to swing by my desk if I looked upset. He made jokes when I needed to laugh and stayed quiet when I needed space. Mark, on the other hand, didn't even notice when I stopped eating dinner with him. One Friday night, we were the last two people in the office. Everyone had left early. It was pouring outside. I was behind on a deadline. Daniel was waiting for a ride. We ended up in the break room again, sitting in silence while the rain beat down on the windows. I don't know what came over me. Maybe it was the sound of the rain. Maybe it was the way he looked at me, not like I was sad or broken, but like I mattered. I looked at him and whispered, "I wish my husband saw me the way you do." He didn't move. Didn't blink. Then he said, "Then let me show you how it feels." My heart stopped. He didn't lean in. Didn't touch me. He just held my gaze like he could see right through me. And for one split second, I wanted it. I wanted to feel seen. Held. Noticed. Loved. But I didn't do anything. I broke the stare. Looked down at my hands. My wedding ring. And all I could say was, "I don't know." That night, I went home and Mark was already asleep. He hadn't called to ask if I was okay, didn't notice I came home an hour later than usual. I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the floor, wondering how I got here. I haven't told anyone this. Not even my best friend. I'm not proud of how close I came. But I'm also not sure I can keep pretending like I'm not drowning in this marriage. There's no affair. Not yet. But there's a part of me that wonders if emotional cheating is just as bad. Maybe worse. Because now I see what it feels like to be seen. And I can't unsee it. I don't know what happens next. If you've read this far, thanks for listening. I just needed someone to see me. After that night with Daniel, something shifted in me. I didn't cross any physical lines, but emotionally, I was already halfway gone. I started comparing everything. The way Daniel looked at me versus the way Mark didn't. The way Daniel listened versus how Mark answered everything with "I'm tired." The contrast felt sharp. Loud. But here's where it gets worse. A few weeks after that night, Daniel stopped talking to me as much. Not in a rude way, he was still polite, still friendly, but the warmth was gone. The looks didn't linger. The small jokes didn't happen. He stopped checking in. At first I thought maybe he was just busy. But then I saw her. New intern. 22. Long brown hair, always laughing too loud, always accidentally in Daniel's office. Her name was Brielle. Of course it was. I told myself I didn't care. I had no right to care. But I did. It wasn't jealousy. It was something worse, rejection. Not the obvious kind. The quiet kind. The kind where you realize you were just a moment. A flicker. Nothing permanent. Meanwhile, Mark started to act weird. He began asking questions he hadn't asked in months. Who were you talking to on the phone? Why are you working late again? You've been quiet lately. At first, I thought maybe he was noticing me again. Maybe he felt me slipping away and was trying to hold on. But it didn't feel loving. It felt suspicious. One night, he came home from work early. I was in the kitchen. He dropped his bag, leaned against the counter, and asked, dead serious, "Are you seeing someone?" I laughed. Not because it was funny. But because it came so out of nowhere. "No, Mark. I'm not," I said. But I didn't say I've wanted to. I didn't say I've felt more connected to another man than to you in years. I didn't say you haven't touched me in months. He just nodded and said, "Okay." But I could tell he didn't believe me. And then the real twist happened. One night, I couldn't sleep. I got up to get water, and when I walked past the living room, I saw Mark's laptop open. He had left it on the couch. I know I shouldn't have. But I did. I sat down, and I looked. There were emails. Hundreds. One in particular was open, a thread between him and someone named Erica. She worked in his office. I remembered her name. He had mentioned her maybe twice in the last year. The messages weren't graphic, but they were intimate. Too intimate. Jokes only close people would get. References to inside moments I wasn't part of. Late-night emails with timestamps like 1:14 a.m., 2:03 a.m. Messages that said things like "I wish I could talk to you about this stuff in person" and "You always understand me better than anyone else." The one that shattered me? If things were different, I think you and I could be something real. I sat there in silence for what felt like hours. It was all I needed to see. Mark hadn't just been distant. He had found someone else too. Maybe not physically, but emotionally? Absolutely. The next morning, I didn't confront him. Not right away. Instead, I went to work, sat at my desk, and tried to keep it together. Daniel passed me in the hallway. Gave me a quick nod. No smile. It hit me then, I was invisible to both of them now. The man I married. The man who noticed. I had slipped through the cracks of both relationships. And yet somehow, I was still pretending. I haven't told Mark I saw the emails. I haven't spoken to Daniel beyond small talk in weeks. But every day, it feels like I'm playing a part in someone else's life. I go home to a husband who looks through me. I go to work and pretend not to feel hollow when Daniel laughs with Brielle like I never existed. There's a storm building inside me. And I don't know where it's going to go next. A few days after finding those emails, I started noticing things I hadn't before. Not big things, subtle ones. Mark stopped locking his phone. He left it face up on the table, like he wanted me to see. Like he was daring me to look. At first, I thought he was just trying to be open now. But no, it felt too careful. Too performative. I didn't say anything. I just watched. Meanwhile at work, Daniel was different. Not just distant, avoidant. If we ended up in the same room, he'd find a reason to leave. During one meeting, I tried to make a joke, one of our usual inside ones, and he didn't even crack a smile. Just moved on like I hadn't said anything. I started to feel crazy. Like I had imagined everything. Like I had made this whole connection up in my head. And then the next twist hit. I got called into HR. Not for anything major. Just a routine meeting to check on interdepartmental collaboration. But the second I walked in and saw the HR rep sitting next to Daniel's manager, I knew it wasn't about teamwork. They asked me if I was aware of any inappropriate professional relationships in the office. I felt my blood go cold. I asked, in what way? They exchanged looks, then said, "It's been brought to our attention that your interactions with a coworker, Daniel, have caused concern for workplace boundaries." My stomach dropped. I asked, "Concern from who?" They wouldn't say. But I already knew. Brielle. I had no proof. But something in my gut told me. The timing. The way she looked at me last week like she knew something. The way Daniel avoided me like I was radioactive. I kept calm. Told them we had no inappropriate relationship. That we worked together on a few campaigns, and that was it. Technically, it wasn't a lie. But the message was clear. Someone was watching. And someone wanted me gone. After the meeting, I walked straight to the rooftop of the office building. It's quiet up there. I just needed air. And that's where the next twist unraveled. I wasn't alone. Daniel was up there. Alone. Smoking, of all things, something I'd never seen him do. I didn't say anything. Just stood there. He finally looked at me and said, "I didn't say anything to them." I swear. I just nodded. But someone did. He exhaled, rubbed the back of his neck, and said, "I think she saw us talking one night. In the hallway. She's intense." I didn't know what to say. I was too tired. Then he said something that spun everything on its head again. She went through my messages. I looked up. What? He nodded. My phone was on my desk one day. I guess I left the screen unlocked. She saw our chat history. Now let me clarify, we never sexted. Never said I love you. Never said anything that could get someone fired. But it was emotional. It was close. And clearly, that was enough. She printed some of it, he said quietly. I didn't know until after the meeting. So now I wasn't just losing my marriage. I was about to lose my job. Because I made the mistake of opening my heart where I shouldn't have. But here's where it gets darker. That night, I finally confronted Mark. I waited until after dinner. He was sitting on the couch, watching some crime drama like everything was normal. I sat down across from him and said, "Who's Erica?" His face went blank. Then hard. "She's a coworker," he said slowly. "I read the emails," I replied. No yelling. No drama. Just the truth. He didn't deny it. He just stared at me, then said, "And Daniel? You think I didn't notice?" I blinked. "What?" He leaned forward, voice low. "You stopped coming to bed. You stopped talking. You were smiling at your phone like a teenager. You think I didn't notice that either?" We stared at each other in complete silence. Two strangers in a war. Then he dropped the final bomb, "I hired someone to follow you." I didn't move. Didn't breathe. I just stared. He said it like it was normal. Like it was just a logical thing to do when your marriage starts to crumble. "A private investigator," he added. He didn't find anything physical. But he found enough. So let me get this straight. I emotionally leaned on someone at work because my husband abandoned me emotionally, and in return, he emotionally leaned on another woman, and also hired someone to spy on me? I couldn't say anything. I just got up and walked out the door. I drove around for hours that night. Parked near the lake. Just stared at the water, wondering how my life turned into this mess. I haven't been back home in 3 days. I've been crashing at a friend's place. Mark hasn't called. He hasn't texted. Just radio silence. And work? HR said they're reviewing everything. Daniel won't look me in the eye. Brielle acts like she won something. I'm not sure what happens next. But I know I'm not the same person I was a few months ago. And maybe that's not a bad thing. 3 days after I left home, I went back. Not to stay. Just to get answers. Mark had texted me once, just one word, "Talk?" That was it. No apology. No explanation. Just that. I didn't respond. But something in me needed to face him. I didn't want to live in this fog anymore, where everything was just half-truths and guessing. When I walked into the house, he was already sitting in the dining room. No TV on. No laptop open. Just silence. I stood across the room. I didn't sit. "You hired someone to follow me?" I said. He looked up slowly. His face was pale, like he hadn't slept. "Yes." "Why?" "Because I didn't trust you." I laughed. Not because it was funny, it wasn't, but because it was so pathetic. "You didn't trust me. But you were sending love notes to Erica?" He rubbed his face, leaned forward on the table like he was carrying 100 bricks. "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it, Mark?" "She listened." That stopped me cold. "She listened?" I repeated. "That's your excuse?" "No," he said. "It's not an excuse. It's the truth. You stopped talking to me." My jaw clenched. "I tried to talk to you. 4 years. You were always too busy. Too tired. Too stressed." He stood up then, walked toward me, and for a second, I thought he might say something real. Instead, he asked, "Did you sleep with him?" I looked him straight in the eye. No, he didn't believe me. I could see it in his face. But I didn't care. Not anymore. "Did you sleep with her?" I asked. He didn't answer. That was the answer. The air felt thick with everything we had never said. Everything we had both been too proud or too scared to admit. We had both been walking away from each other for years, but now we were finally standing in the rubble. Then I said it. I went to Daniel because I needed to feel like I still existed. You went to Erica because you needed to feel adored. We're both cowards. That hit him. I saw it in the way he closed his eyes. Like I had taken the wind out of him. We didn't yell. That was the weirdest part. No screaming. No breaking things. Just pain. Quiet and full. But then it turned. He stepped closer, voice cracking. I wanted to fix this. You hired someone to spy on me, I replied. You don't fix a marriage with surveillance. You fix it by showing up. By being here. When I changed my hair. When I cried in the bathroom. When I begged you to talk to me. Silence. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. He whispered, I read your messages with Daniel. I froze. He looked at me, eyes bloodshot. I saw what you wrote to him. The way you smiled at your phone. I couldn't stop myself. Jesus, Mark, I said. So you've been spying on me this whole time? I needed to know if I already lost you. You did, I said. He looked gutted. Just, broken. I could have yelled. Could have thrown something. But I didn't. Instead, I said, we didn't have an affair, Mark. But I thought about it. I thought about it every single time you looked through me like I wasn't even there. The next day, he moved out. Just like that. No fighting over furniture. No final hug. No dramatic goodbye. He packed a few bags and left. Said he'd stay at his brother's for a while. I watched him drive off through the front window with Max's leash still hanging on the hook beside the door. And then I sat down and cried for 2 hours straight. The office wasn't any better. HR gave me a formal warning, even though they admitted there wasn't enough to take action. Daniel avoided me like I was made of glass and guilt. Brielle acted like she won some sick game. I started eating lunch in my car. 2 weeks later, Daniel requested a transfer to another office. Rumor had it he asked to relocate out of state. Before he left, he sent me one message. I'm sorry. I handled it wrong. But I meant what I said. You deserve more than what he gave you. More than what I gave you too. I didn't reply. Because what was there left to say? It's been 4 months now. Mark and I are separated. We haven't filed for divorce yet, but I think we both know that's where it's going. He emails sometimes. Nothing emotional. Just practical stuff. Bills. The house. Max, who he visits on weekends. Daniel's gone. I don't know where. I don't ask. Work is quiet. Lonely. But steady. People talk less now. I see the way they look at me, like they're trying to guess what happened, or maybe pretending they don't already know. A few have tried to be kind. One coworker, Jenna, left a note on my desk a few weeks ago, whatever happened, I hope you know you deserve to feel seen. That one broke me a little. I think a part of me wanted to believe I was still the same person I was a year ago, but I'm not. I don't even know who that person was anymore. Desperate? Hopeful? Stupid? Maybe all of it. But I'm learning to be quiet with myself now. To sit with the silence instead of trying to fill it with someone else. I've started therapy. I walk Max every morning. I cut my hair again, not because I wanted someone to notice, but because I wanted the change to feel like mine. And now, when I look in the mirror, I don't see someone broken. I see someone rebuilding. One slow, quiet piece at a time. I don't know if love is supposed to be loud. I don't know if it's supposed to be soft. But I know now that it's supposed to make you feel real, not invisible. And maybe one day, I'll find that kind of love again. But for now, I'm just trying to find myself. And that's enough.